Ohio gozaimasu, gamers! It's K-Wing here, bringing you review number 61, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja for the Super Nintendo and now the Wii Virtual Console. Let's hop into the story of this game, shall we? Alrighty then. Now, the story for this game is kind of like an opening episode to an anime, honestly. Basically, Dr. Yang tells Goemon, I call him Dr. Yang because I cannot pronounce his name in Japanese. Sorry, but my Japanese is wicked rusty. In any case, Dr. Yang tells Goemon that the woman ghost up at the well is misbehaving, and it's up to them to put a stop to her misbehaving. So there's really no point to it other if you're not really Japanese, you're not going to really understand what's going on. In reality, you think they could call some Ghostbusters, but I guess they're it. Alright, time for the concept for this game. Now, please keep in mind, I am not Japanese in any way, shape, or form. I've had Japanese roommates, and I took a little Japanese in college. I had to understand what my roommates were talking about. But anyway, I don't know if he's called Goemon or Goemon. I think it's not supposed to sound like Go-E, so I'm just going to call him Go-E. And in any case, I don't want to call him Kid Ying, because I think that's stupid. Anyway, you travel throughout the small village until you come across the ghosts, and then it's Goemon's job to find out what's bothering the female ghost. So after defeating her, like you just saw, she turns into a purple cat and tells you to seek the cat boss. So the cat boss then tells you that the princess of Japan has been kidnapped, so it's now your sworn duty to rescue her at any costs. So Goemon travels throughout feudal Japan until he rescues the princess, and you get to see a lot of Japan the way it's supposed to be in folklore and fiction and stories like that. So it's actually kind of pretty cool. Alright, time for the controls for this game. You move Goemon and E-Boss, I'm not even going to try it, and you move Yang with the control pad. The A and Y buttons act as your attack button, and after defeating enemies, they drop items, very similar to other arcade brawler type games. The items are actually gold coins, scrolls, and the lucky cats. Now, the lucky cats are used to upgrade your weapons, and there are sometimes women on this stage, and when you bump into them, you get a boost in money. Now, the B button will act as your jump in this game, and jumping is very important in the side-scrolling levels. Although your ninjas can't jump that high, with practice you can learn to elude your pursuers. The secondary weapons in this game, Goemon throws money at his attackers, and E throws shurikens. You select your secondary weapon with the R button, and you throw with either the A or Y. What's very interesting about this game, too, is you can learn a Jitsu. And it's pretty expensive, but you have different special attacks you can use, and use the X button to use your special attack. But you can only use the specials in the 2D side-scrolling levels. They don't work in the arcade brawlers. Okay, time for the design for this game. Mystical Ninja is a game that is a very well-crafted piece of artwork. Now, the designers and the artists, I feel, wanted to express how they saw feudal Japan in a mystical and folklore kind of way. This game is filled with many different aspects of Japanese culture, and I will try my best to explain that in the history segment, but please keep in mind I'm just a gaijin, as my Japanese friends would call me, or otaku, meaning I'm obsessed. Mainly with their culture, but I still don't understand it, I guess. Plus, I'm an American, so what would I know about life other than being in America, right? Anyway, this Goemon game is again a very beautiful designed game. Some of my favorite stages in this game include the water realms, where you can see me and my wife were playing those levels. You can see all the water effects and the moving sky and all the animation and everything. This was a very well made Famicom game and a lot of fun to play it. I also really liked the sky world. I thought it was very reminiscent to kind of Mario Brothers and stuff like that, so it was cool. Another thing I liked about this game were the bosses. Now, they're exaggerated cliches of Japanese folktales, basically, but that doesn't mean they didn't look cool. This game has some of the nicest visuals of early Super Famicom games, and I enjoyed it a lot. History for this game. Goemon and Company have celebrated 20 years in the market too. The first game was called Mr. Goemon in the arcades, although here in the States, we only got 4 Goemon games released. when in reality there was a whole lot more games released in Japan. And what's interesting is these games spanned all game genres, from platforms to arcades, to RPGs, to puzzle games, to board games, action-adventure, and even a series redesign in the year 2000. In fact, I don't even think I showed all the games. But now I want to shed some light on the background story of the history of the two main ninjas, Goemon and Yang. Goemon lived from 1558 to 1594, and was a legendary ninja warrior and bandit hero who stole gold and valuables and gave them to the poor. Sound familiar? Whose background and origins have been widely speculated upon. He is most notable for being boiled alive after a failed assassination attempt on this famous emperor. A large iron kettle-shaped bathtub is now called a Goemon burrow. Pretty sick, huh? Anyway, the next character I'll refer to as the Kid Rat, who's Yang. He was a Japanese Robin Hood who lived from 1797 to 1832. He's known as a famous thief who was banished from Edo twice. He was captured in 1832 and confessed to the burglary of over 100 samurai and the theft of over 30,000 ryu during his 15-year career. He was beheaded in 1832 for his crimes, but divorced his wife in order to save her from the axe. The Kid Rat has been commemorated in kabuki theater, folk songs, TV, movies, and video games. In English, he was named Dr. Yang. This is actually kind of a cliche of Yang. Now, what you're seeing right here is a bunch of different enemies that are based on the Japanese culture. The monks who play flutes are supposed to be traveling Buddhists, but in reality they were ninjas in disguise. And other enemies are based on Japanese folk culture, and I can't get into that. The first N64 game is my favorite, and Legend of the Mystical Ninja is on the Wii Virtual Console. Although hopefully the N64 games will come soon after. Alright, time for the bad aspect. I hated the punks who threw coins at me. I mean, they are not just difficult to dodge, they're probably one of the most frustrating and annoying enemies in this game. Another thing I hated about this game are the ninja monkeys. They're stupid, they're annoying, and they're unpredictable. Another thing I didn't enjoy about this game is the stage you're looking at right here with the rotating platforms. In fact, this stage made me kind of motion sick and I almost tossed my cookies. Especially if you get stuck in a certain spot and you have to go through the platforms all over again. It's just too repetitive, very boring, and again, very nauseating. Another thing I didn't like is this stage that you're seeing right here, where there's a secret passage, and I hit the wall and nothing, and even if you know where the passage is, still, you have to talk to the ruler, and you have to find the secret passage all over again, and that is just stupid. Alright, time for the good aspect. Now, Goemon has a lot of great strengths, aside from the awesome gameplay, fun controls, and beautiful visuals. Konami has included a bunch of fun minigames for you to play as well, like Whack-A-Mole, if you love that like I do. Playing these games is a great way for you to increase your money in the game, not to mention they're fun. Most of them are based after different Japanese culture games, but they even have a minigame that's about card memory, which is fun. Another thing I really enjoyed about this game is the demo for Gradius. Now, I am a huge fan of the shooter genre, and I love the Gradius series to death, and it was so awesome of Konami to include that. Another thing that makes this game a lot of fun to play is when you're playing with a second person. My wife and I had hours of fun playing this game, and it was just so incredibly well done. And it's an absolute shame that not many more Goemon games made it over here to the States. Probably the best part about this game is the super moves. They really help you when you're in a major pinch. My favorite of these moves, as soon as the clips match up with what I'm speaking, is the lightning. Now, the lightning destroys everything in your way. Legend of the Mystical Ninja is an overlooked and underappreciated gem of a game. If you have the spare Wii points, I would strongly suggest downloading this game. Even if you don't get the funny cliches or anime-style humor, you will have hours of fun because of the amazing gameplay and fun, challenging levels. This game gets an 8 out of 10. The next review will actually be one of my old school favorites, a Golden Axe for the Sega Genesis and now the Wii Virtual Console. This is K-Wing saying, God bless and happy gaming. Sayonara, gamers.